In a world where everyone is screaming to be seen, the one who stays silent becomes unforgettable. Think about it. When you walk into a room filled with noise, who's the one you notice? Not the loudest, but the one who doesn't need to be loud. There's a quiet presence, a stillness that says more than 1,000 words. That kind of presence is rare, not because it's complicated, but because it takes discipline. We've been taught to speak up, to perform, to be visible, but real power doesn't perform, it just is. And real confidence doesn't chase attention, it commands respect without asking. People remember the one who gave them something no one else could. Peace in the middle of chaos. Stability in a world that constantly shifts. A sense of depth when everything else feels shallow. Stillness isn't weakness. It's control. It's clarity. It's the refusal to prove your worth through noise. And that's exactly what makes you irreplaceable. You don't have to say much. You just have to be. Be rooted. Be composed. Be quiet enough that your presence speaks louder than your words ever could. Because in a world addicted to attention, stillness is rebellion. And the most powerful person in the room is the one who no longer needs to be seen to be felt. You don't become unforgettable by being agreeable. You don't leave a mark on someone's soul by trying to please them. Let's be honest, most people spend their lives trying to be liked. They say yes when they mean no. They stay quiet when their heart is screaming. They shrink just to be chosen, and then wonder why they still feel invisible. But the truth is, people don't regret losing who was the most charming. They regret losing the one who became whole. The one who didn't need validation, but offered presence. The one who didn't perform, but was. Becoming irreplaceable doesn't come through performance. It comes through transformation. And that journey, it's brutal. You will have to let parts of yourself die. The parts that only existed to keep you liked. The parts that apologize for your truth. The parts that beg to be understood. It hurts at first. Silence will feel like punishment. But that pain is the cost of awakening. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself, you start remembering who you were before the world told you to be someone else. You don't need to convince anyone you're worthy. You don't need them to get you. Your worth isn't up for negotiation. It lives inside you, unshakable, unborrowed, untouchable. And the moment you stop chasing approval is the moment you become the person they'll never find again. Desire is fire. It's warm. It's seductive. It pulls you in with promises of fulfillment, of connection, of validation, of worth. But here's what most people never realize. The moment desire starts to lead, you start to lose yourself. Because uncontrolled desire doesn't make you magnetic, it makes you needy. And neediness repels the very things you think it'll attract. You've seen it, haven't you? You feel the urge to send that text, to wait for that reply like it decides your value, to chase what you hope will love you back. But Stoicism teaches something deeper. You don't kill your desire, you discipline it. You sit with it. You question it. You ask, is this worth my energy, my peace, my soul? You don't become stronger by pretending you don't want anything. You become stronger by not letting what you want control what you do. Because here's the truth. People aren't drawn to you because you need them. They're drawn to the version of you who doesn't chase, who stands calm, grounded, whole. Not the one who begged, not the one who over-explained, but the one who stayed still when they walked away and didn't follow. That's what they remember. That's what they regret. Because power doesn't beg. It waits. It watches. It chooses slowly. And that kind of restraint, that's unforgettable. We live in a world that tells you, if it hurts, escape. If you're sad, scroll. If you're lost, numb it. But what if pain isn't something to run from? What if it's something to face? Stoicism teaches this. Suffering is not the enemy. Panic is. Distraction is. The urge to fix every uncomfortable feeling, that's where we lose ourselves. You see, real strength isn't about how fast you recover. It's about how still you can stay when everything inside you is begging to run. Anyone can smile when it's easy. But what about when your heart is breaking? What about when silence is loud, when the weight is heavy, and there's no one clapping? That's where character is forged. That's the fire the Stoic learns to sit in. You don't need to get over it. You need to go through it without losing your shape, without lashing out, without collapsing into self-pity. Because the one who can suffer without complaint, the one who can feel everything but still choose discipline, that person becomes dangerous. Not because they hurt others, but because they cannot be manipulated. That kind of presence, it's unforgettable. They won't remember your struggle, but they'll remember how calm you looked walking through the storm. And they'll wonder how you didn't break, because they would have. That's Stoic power. Not loud, not flashy, but forged in the quiet fire of self-mastery. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. See, weak people need noise. They need a reaction. They'll poke your pride, twist your words, push every button, not to win an argument, but to pull you into their chaos. And the moment you bite, the moment you explain, defend, or justify, you shrink. You give them access. You hand them your energy. And worst of all, you let them set the terms of the conversation. But the Stoic doesn't play that game. The Stoic knows. Peace is sacred, even if you once loved them, even if you still do. Because if someone can rob you of your calm just by speaking carelessly, they're holding power they don't deserve. You don't need to respond to every misunderstanding. You don't need to fix the version of you they created in their mind. Let them wonder. Let them replay the silence. Let them sit in the space where your words used to be. That's how you win. Not by being louder, but by becoming untouchable. Because when you don't flinch, when you no longer chase closure or clarity or control, you become what they can't forget. Still, solid, unshaken, not cold, just done explaining. That's Stoic strength. In that silence, it speaks louder than anything you could have said. Sometimes the strongest thing you'll ever do is walk away quietly and never look back. Not to prove a point, not to make them regret, but because you finally remembered who you are. They were never part of the life you're meant to build. And deep down, you know that. You weren't born to wait. You weren't made to chase someone who doesn't see you. You're here to rise on your own terms, even if no one claps for it. The transformation, it's not loud. It doesn't come with big announcements or dramatic exits. It happens in the small moments, the silence, the self-respect, the decisions no one sees. You become someone new, not by changing for them, but by becoming someone they'll never recognize again. That's the power of Stoicism, not in forgetting, not in pretending it didn't hurt, but in letting it burn and walking through the ashes untouched. See, they might remember you. They might even miss you. But by the time they do, you won't need them to. Because the person you're becoming, they were never meant to meet that version. This is what the Stoic warrior knows. Closure is found within. Peace isn't something they give you. It's something you claim when you stop waiting and start walking. Quiet, grounded, unshaken. You don't need to announce the new you. Just become it. And let your silence speak the rest. Let it burn. Whatever it was, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the misunderstanding, the silence that never got filled, let it all burn. Because some things aren't meant to be fixed. They're meant to be released. Not with noise, not with anger, not with revenge, but with stillness. That's where your power lives. Not in holding on, but in your ability to walk forward without needing closure. There's a moment in every warrior's life where the battle is no longer about others. It's about yourself. Can you let go without needing to be right? Can you walk away without needing them to understand? That's the real test. See, anyone can scream. Anyone can throw words like weapons. But strength, true, quiet strength, is walking through fire and saying nothing. You don't need to prove you've changed. Your peace will speak for itself. You don't need them to regret losing you. Life will take care of that. What matters now is who you're becoming. And that version of you doesn't chase, doesn't explain, doesn't flinch. They just move. Not cold, not bitter, just clear, centered, unshaken. So if you're holding on to something or someone, this is your sign. Let it burn. Let the pain purify you. Let the silence strengthen you. Let your next step be quiet, but unstoppable. Because warriors don't announce their power. They walk in it.